And we're back together for another episode of All About Millennials. Finally,
3 weeks away.
we are back together. Thank you guys so much for letting us explore being our own hosts for a couple weeks while we just kind of reset. And Donaze, tell me what you've been up to, because I am super excited to hear about all this stuff you're doing.
So part of it has been streaming and trying to just establish that and still trying to get a grip on my schedule, especially with, I think, 3 big releases coming out in the next 2 months. UFC 4, which got announced recently with the DLC being, and pre-order bonuses being Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. And that series of the UFC 4 career mode is going to be starting mid-August. I'm doing WWE 2K20's career mode right now, and I'm knee-deep in that. And then also, I don't know if I'm going to get WWE 2K Battlegrounds. From the layouts I've seen, it feels like another just Smash palette swap, and knowing how the NBA Battlegrounds was, it was a microtransaction, but that's still up in the air. But the big one that I'm getting, and that might take me into mid-2021, depending on how many games I feel like doing per stream, will be NBA 2K21. And I'm going to bite the bullet in this current day and age and drop the 100 to get the Kobe Tribute Edition.
Whoa. Okay, so you're talking about streaming video games, and you said it'll bring you into 2021. That is a busy streaming schedule. Tell us a little more about how it's been going for you, because you've really gotten into this in the last month.
Yeah,
and I haven't gotten to talk to you.
Well, it's been fun just trying to really venture out and do something, because as we all know, with a certain pandemic, which I'll get to my personal viewpoints and where I stand on that personally right now, which is kind of scary. But with what I've been doing, especially since the entertainment industry, since I live out in LA, has been up in the air. And yes, everybody has to get tested and temperatures checked, even going for a simple headshot right now, because it is that serious. And if people aren't taking it that serious, which I saw some of the Miami anti-mask protests, which are borderline stupidity. But it's like, yeah, people are getting sick and ended up having just these random symptoms and feeling it and testing positive just left, right, and center. And yet people are using their rights not to wear a mask, and it's putting people at risk.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
We have to wear masks in New York. There's no choice.
Yeah, there's
if we're within 6 feet of each other.
Oh yeah, in LA we're on a second lockdown for this. It's basically an unofficial, like, stage 1. It's basically everything's back to where it's only you can do stuff outside, and you have to, like you said, be within 6 feet of each other with a mask. But do people really listen? No, because you can easily go to the store, and the younger they get, the more they can understand, like, the concept of personal space and 6 feet. The older, they just hate that.
Yeah. Wow.
And
we just reached stage 4, so I think that's a good thing for us.
Yeah, that's a good thing for y'all, because y'all maybe, I would say, almost in overseas territory soon. Because my dance mentor told me, like, he was just chilling and got envious of everybody in the UK, because some of his contacts out there have already started, of course, honoring like the 60 and new social distancing. I don't even say kind of social distancing, but post-corona world right now. So they're
Right.
living in a post-corona world, like everybody. I've seen shows to where they're actually holding like shows and events in Japan right now, which was for a time ground zero, and they're already having events at like 1/3 or half capacity, and yet it still sounds good, has a lot of people like just communicating. So it's crazy that just because people want to exercise their right not to wear a mask and don't know the concept of personal space, that the US is now the ugliest spot to where there are travel bans to in and out of the US because
Yeah.
of this.
Yeah. It's gonna be an interesting rest of the year for us for sure.
Yeah, if people don't want to get their masks on, you could
Yeah.
be me in experiencing symptoms.
Yeah. Wow.
And I do want to touch on that because I've been feeling okay. It's just for me as of late, like one of the symptoms is diarrhea. I've been feeling it. I'm getting tested within the next week or so. Scheduling it, doing all that jazz. Kaehla, I know you said you got your results coming back, or they've come back at this point, right?
Yeah, my staff is negative working in tennis. It's like we could get shut down any day if one of the clubs already was shut down. If the staff tests positive, it's over, you know. Well, they say that we can quarantine and do all this stuff, but I mean, for people who live like in close quarters and are teaching people coming in and out, then it's like we were scared for a while.
Yeah.
We have to get tested every month though. It's a
Right.
protocol. We take temperatures every day too, so
Yeah, I think it's either, yeah, it's like that out in LA for anybody that's doing like entertainment whatsoever. Test
yeah.
it almost weekly or daily, and then temperature daily regardless. But for me, it's been a case of the BGs, and on top of that, muscle like joint stiffness,
That's
which is,
scary.
yeah, it's like weird because I know I had like a shoulder injury that was real bad about a month ago, and that took like 2 days to heal because I was just happy to be out the house and just happy to be with actual people and
Yeah.
feeling okay to somewhat not rock a mask. And we were just keeping our distance and just hanging out in the pool. I think it's, and for my dumb butt, try and jump on a floaty and do a swanton. No, and it was like one of them big flamingo floaties. So like I didn't feel it till after we got done swimming. And the second we got done swimming, like my entire left side of my neck and
Uh,
shoulder, like that pain, it was bad for the rest of the night. And like I could not, it's like I think I had to just massage the knots out and use like a like a battery operated massager just to knock the kinks out,
yeah.
to make sure my shoulder, my arm, shoulder, my neck, and like that nerve was not like pinched, you know?
Yeah.
Because it felt like it was pinched for hours after I got done swimming, and kind of that adrenaline wore out. But for but since then, it's been good. I've had a couple days where I was like, why are my joints like super stiff? And then why have I been having to go to the bathroom more when I've been eating probably about the same amount and same amount or less, and then just relaxing. But
Yeah.
yet, and I have to apologize for anybody that has a weak stomach, but especially around this time of night. But hey, these are the things we all need to know. Like, pay attention to your butt. Like, legit. If I hate to say it,
But
one of the symptoms, and I looked this up too when I was thinking, is this a possibility? Because I was not feeling good. Like sinuses were real backed up. I had my joints were real stiff. I was sleeping like my sleeping habits were kind of irregular, but then my narcolepsy is like weird. So I didn't know what to take of that. But then the diarrhea, I'm like, I have been going to the bathroom a lot weird, like more frequent than I usually do at less food consumption. And I'm like, oh boy, here we go.
Well, hopefully the test comes back okay. Hopefully you ate something bad and it wasn't corona.
Yeah, I really pray it is. And I know I'm probably just psyching myself out, but hey, I still got my voice. My throat's not sore, which it was for like a few days.
Mm.
So it's like, even if I have it or if I don't, like the symptoms that I had are clearing up
Right.
because
Right.
I've been at home for the most part.
Right.
So it's not like, oh, I've been out and about 24/7, 365 since the start of the coronavirus.
Right.
No, like, yeah, I could easily go to like, there are a lot of gyms that are staying open and trying to find a way to cheat the system and work out outside. I'm like, you know, do you guys have online workouts to where I can do it at the house?
Right.
Because especially if I got this, I'm not going to try and leave the house, especially go to the opposite side of town.
Right. Right. Yeah, we're not even allowed to have gyms right now.
Yeah, like it depends on. I hate to say it, but we need to go on a second nationwide shutdown, like nationwide, endorsed by the government, and for those that people that are kind of uncertain about rent or like bills in general, there needs to be a second like stipend handed out to everybody.
Right.
I
Every
hate to say that that needs to happen, but that's the only way to get people to chill long
Yeah.
enough to want to virtually like, hey, this is serious. We need to keep our butts in for at least
Yeah.
the next month, and we have enough to per person to help us get to the end of the next month.
I feel like that's not going to happen.
Election year, you're right.
Honestly, right now too, it's like I'm reading all this stuff about in New York has been one of the more active states as far as taking it seriously and getting people back to normal and saying these are the new norms, you're going to follow these protocols. Everybody's been pretty good about it. Like people are like, oh my gosh, New York City looks so empty, I've never seen it look so like like a ghost town, it's like the opposite of what it's supposed to be. But
The
people,
day I'll reopen, imagine them at
no,
like
it's open. No, things are open, but people are recognizing the new norm. They're recognizing how to keep themselves safe, and they're just wearing their masks when they're supposed to be. And if you don't wear your mask, then like get away. Like that's people's mentality. Like stay away, stay outside. But people are understanding that, and so but with the government right now, they're just trying to find all kinds of ways for federal, state governments to fight each other and the people, and it's just like I hate to say it, but I don't think that's gonna happen. I don't think things are gonna change.
and if I get one more email or one more YouTube ad, and there's probably one attached to this, I'm sorry, guys. Over either the 2020 census or the 2020 election, I'm gonna lose my brain. I cannot wait till, excuse me, 2 seconds. November. Okay, so I can't wait till November 4th.
Fourth, ooh. I didn't even know.
November 4th, 2020.
Yeah.
That is the day after Election Tuesday.
Yeah.
I can't wait till then to get rid of everything. And then we
Right.
got to wait all the way until January, which, oh boy, that's going to be a month for everybody.
Yeah. Right
Like,
now, it's
not
just a
just
matter of like,
DC. Not just DC.
yeah. Right now, it's just a matter of like, things are not going to change, so you might as well change your mindset. Like,
Things are not going to change overnight, and
yeah.
do what you need to do. And I'm sorry I don't.
Start with ourselves, and nothing's ever going to change.
Right. And I do gotta apologize to our viewers and our listeners for the fact, but it's just something that needed to be said, and we wanted to catch everybody up. And hey, like Kaehla and I were talking before we went live, and yeah, me dealing with this right now and the issues that I've been having, and the fact that I've been Googling everything and making that decision, and talked it over with my roommates, and hey, we are going to take it as serious as possible without knowing any results. I know you had to, and then go from there. Because one of my roommates had to get tested for work, and then with me working from the house essentially, which at DKey for real, facebook.com/DKey for real on everything, and just on my way to 100 followers and getting becoming a Facebook gamer and influencer.
Nice.
Just hit
Keep
that
it
up,
up.
guys. Thanks.
I like that it's like kind of giving us new opportunities. Like,
I mean, if you don't take advantage of finding new outlets and new opportunities right now, that is on you, because we have so much time now to just find new passions, find new ways, and just find new avenues to venture into. It's like, if you don't take advantage of anything, then it's your fault, because, man, you will lose out on so much once we reopen, because everybody's going to try and jump back on what they thought they knew.
right.
Because even in the entertainment industry, and this is odd, like, yeah, we're going to lose out on a lot more background opportunities.
Right. Yeah,
Like,
no audiences now.
yeah, no audiences whatsoever. And speaking of audiences, thoughts on the whole Viacom versus Nick Cannon situation?
I haven't heard anything about that. Please enlighten me.
Okay, so Nick Cannon on his own personal podcast said something that was taken as anti-Semitic. Viacom basically ripped his material and his baby that is Wild 'N Out and took it straight from under him, fired him, and then within a day rebranded it and pulled the season that was already pre-shot, ready to air, that had him hosting.
Whoa.
And you know the brand Wild 'N Out has been under his name for the last
Right.
15 has been under his name for 15 years.
So what are they doing with all the episodes? They're going to reshoot them, or what's going to happen to the other people a part of the show?
Well, the cast didn't even want to do anything with it. Like, how y'all gonna air something and then fire us? Like, the cast, like, they've already tweeted, and the other comedians have basically, like,
Yeah,
yeah, and like that.
Anti-
The reason I brought that up, because the hashtag boycott Viacom and boycott VH1 have been trending for like the last few days since all this.
I have not been keeping up, guys. I've been so swamped. I haven't been on social media. Well,
Yeah.
a little bit, but
Yeah, imagine if
that's crazy.
15, 20 years down the line, you do your own spinoff you have your own show, executive produced, and did everything for like 10 plus years, under your own brand, and then you come on here, say something that is somewhat offensive to any demographic, religious, or what have you. That's why I really tried to keep it as general as possible last week. I tried, guys. And then, like, the network that you have built your entire brand and content on basically says you're done, and we're keeping your property, but we're rebranding it under the way
Yeah.
we want it. So apparently, with that, Ryan Seacrest, of all people, is the new host of Wild 'N Out.
Wait, hold on. Okay, we need to talk about this. Okay. I love a good Ryan Seacrest hosting. He is the ultimate host. He's probably the most known host right now in the world,
Yeah.
or in the country at least. Um, totally have looked up to him my whole life. You know, I love hosting. Hello, here we are.
Yeah.
But how is Ryan Seacrest going to do Wild 'N Out? How is Ryan Seacrest going to do Wild 'N Out? I'm into this conversation that I had no idea was happening. Guys, I'm not pre-recording this. Like, I have not looked up any of this information. This is new to me.
Yeah, I know. This was shock to me. And all of this, imagine, like, when I was looking at this, and there are a few of my colleagues that wanted me to legit, I think the last 2 seasons, possibly the season that was recorded, that VH1 will not air, wanted me to go out to Atlanta and work audience with them for what should have aired with Nick Cannon. So, like, that's how I found out. And I'm like, why is Ryan Seacrest hosting something that is not politically correct? And you could tell.
It's just like, is it a rap show still? I mean,
It's still like that sketch comedy, but it's gotten more into like a lot more Instagram and like social media comedians that are on there now. Yes, though, still the OGs, like your 85, 85 South, your Hitman Holla. They'll have Tim come on for an episode or two every now and again.
but is
But
it like freestyling or?
they still have some of that on there. But
Okay.
it's like all this, and you look at Ryan Seacrest's entire hosting catalog from
Yeah.
American Idol
Yeah.
to
Like
that, just because it's a network thing.
Like, yeah.
Just because they trust that he's going to be politically correct for the network.
I guess.
Yeah, there's an entire, like, yeah, that goes along with, and I don't want to get into that right now because even though I know you want to talk about it, that's just going to get into a BLM discussion that, unless you want to open that rabbit hole again.
Well, I don't think we need to open that. I'm just thinking I need to look into how they rebranded this show.
Yeah, they just announced and posted like, "Hey,
like
Ryan Seacrest is hosting," and I'm like, "Wait, what?"
Like
the day he got fired, Nick got replaced on Viacom. They announced it. Like, Fox didn't even remove Nick from The Masked Singer, but Viacom dropped him from something he said on his own podcast that had nothing to do with anything in their brand.
Right, because he's the face of one of their brands.
One of their only shows bringing in, like, I hate to say it like this, but my demographic. And that's African Americans, 18 to 35.
Ryan Seacrest talking.
Oh my gosh. Imagine him during the Wild Star battle.
That's what I don't understand. Like, okay, if Nick Cannon needed to, Nick Cannon could have just come in and, like, joined. Can you imagine Ryan Seacrest joining?
Oh my gosh. That's,
you know what though? I'm gonna watch it. I need to see what it's all about.
Yeah, I'm like, for me, I joined, like, and here's why it puts me in a bad spot, in a weird spot, in a weird predicament. because I've done so much with CBS over the
Uh-huh.
last, like, since I moved out with LA. Like, either background, laughing, and then I've got contacts that have worked as crew for CBS shows. And
Mm-hmm.
we all know CBS is another Viacom branded company. So I'm like, oh, yeah, this is going to put me in a bad spot, in a bad, like, thought process. Like, do I stick on and go to work? And that's why I kind of developed my own brand and are doing things like this, streaming, and then my own, and then still trying to stick around with dancing. But it's like, I'm doing it so I have control of my own brand. So I
Right.
challenge everybody before we kick the break to stick around with their own brand and do their own stuff, rather than just letting someone else's ideas, their funding, like, kind of mandate who you are, you know?
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to get into that. That's a perfect segue after the break.
All right, then. See you guys in a bit.
And we're back to episode 17 of All About Millennials. Donaze is back with me. I'm Kaehla. Hello. Welcome back to our podcast. All right,
Bruh,
Donaze.
this feels crazy.
It's so crazy. I feel like is this real life? No, I'm kidding.
Okay, Bohemian.
I feel like though we should go further into this branding thing. First of all,
Ooh.
before the break, we talked about Nick Cannon being replaced by Ryan Seacrest on Wild and Out. There's a lot we have to say about that, but that's not really what this episode is about. But branding in itself is great because Donaze was talking about how he's trying to focus on creating his own brand, and as am I, as is this podcast. You know, this is us branding ourselves, and to anybody who's listening, like Donna said, like create this opportunity for yourself because it might be a long journey and we might rebrand 100 times. And I think this is kind
This
of
is only the second logo, by the way.
yeah, I think we could even change the name one day. Who knows? This could be a gaming podcast. Who knows? This could be a sports podcast. But I think
Don't you dare tempt me.
first I need to say though, with Ryan Seacrest, he's branded himself as this wholesome family show host. And so I'm interested to see what Wild and Out becomes or what Ryan Seacrest becomes when they come together. Um, but more importantly, let's talk about ourselves.
Yeah, I was about to say, because I do agree that's going to be interesting just for the fact, like, and here's the thing, you have to do things regardless of the shot and the shake that you're going to get, because
Yeah,
you're
so
going
like
to get those that are people that are
good for him.
loyal.
Like I said, he's like the top host, and it goes to show he can book anything. Like,
Yeah.
but
Is he going to get a
so
fair shake, though? No.
yeah, it'll be interesting. But the same is gonna happen to us. You know, everybody wants to kind of put you in this box, and you have different sides to you, and to a point, it's important. And I've been thinking about this a lot, especially the last week. It's important to kind of stick to a niche, a niche, however you want to pronounce it, because then it's easier for people to latch on and follow you rather than if you're kind of all over the place. But at the same time, like, stay true to who you are because I find it really difficult um, being, 25, 30 years old, even with where you want to place your career because when you're a kid, you have Nickelodeon, you have Disney, and then outside of that, you have like sometimes kids would be in these movies where maybe they say a bad word and it's a big deal, like a PG-13 movie or something. But for the most part, when we were growing up, I feel like there was this like box that kids were put in if they were going to act like you're going to be perfect, you're going to show everybody that you are living this perfect life, you're never going to make a mistake, blah blah blah. Now we're adults and it's like, all right, we don't really need to prove ourselves in that sense. Like, no, I'm not just the girl next door, I'm also this, but at the same time, like, I'm totally ranting. At the same time though, it's like so hard when you want to show who you are, but also like be accepted. Not just accepted, but be respectful to not tarnish yourself, you know? It's like a very fine balance. But people should continue to explore who they are as a brand. And I think we're moving more towards that. I think people like seeing the real you. Like influencers are such a big deal because people are branding themselves and they're authentic. So we should keep doing that.
I agree. And my biggest thing about that is more so, what do we really want to see for ourselves? And regardless of, we could be a certain ethnicity. However, what is on the outside more than your DNA and who you are is how you're going to get, and I hate to go say this, but it's the truth, branded by society.
Yeah.
And the branding by society is so odd, so weird.
Yeah. So
But
like keep showing people who you are, like past your skin color, past how short you are, how tall you are, like if you have brown hair, like just keep showing who you are, what you like to do, what you're good at, and people will follow.
and to be honest, don't be afraid to create your own opportunities. Like if you don't see yourself starring, or good grief, why do I really have to be by the loudest side of the street when recording this? But to say like, oh, there's no opportunities for African Americans, there's no opportunities for Asians, there's no opportunities for yada yada, create them and build on it. Like, you
Yeah.
have a friend that wants to write a script, star in their film. You have somebody that wants to be involved with a dance video, like either direct, star, or choreograph the video. Like, hey, like film and do what you need to do, but create your own opportunities, make your own journey, you know?
Yeah. And speaking of that, so you're creating your own opportunities with streaming. I'm kind of going in the realm of graphic design, which is different because, for anybody that's been listening, it's like she acts or she models, she sings, this is what she talks about, or she hosts. It's always about like the performance aspect, but I really, really enjoy the process, just like you do, the filmmaking process. I really enjoy like photography, like stills and like website design. I've been doing that. I've been getting into even working on projects that bridge the filmmaker to film investors and creating pitch decks, which is like a whole thing I never considered before a couple years ago. So it's like the whole design aspect really appeals to me. And you know, when you realize this is what I'm good at and this is going to make me money, it doesn't really matter what everybody else thinks of you, because you're just going to go for that and you're going to succeed in it.
All I want to see right now, and this is from me to everybody on the fan base, on Spotify, on Anchor, on Google Podcasts, on YouTube, is 3 words. And when you see this logo, I want you to just say, "Thank you, Kaehla." Just say, "Thank you, Kaehla," and call it a day. And that's not trying to put her over, and that's not trying to be a brown noser, but hey, sent it to her, and within, I think it was 2 days, got this back, and I fell in LUV. And hey, we've been sticking around with it for months, and I don't feel like changing it for the season, which you guys are going to be stuck with it till 2021. So
honestly, I see it on t-shirts. Like, I see it as like a little pocket square logo. Honestly forgot I created it. That's probably what sparked it. I was like, yeah, sure, I'll make this logo.
hey, but at the end of the day, I gotta say, branding, and what do you know? We might be coming out with some merch soon.
Yeah, I think we need to.
Think we need to. I think there might be some ideas coming down the line with said logo. But
Yeah.
until then, shall we continue?
Yeah, let's do it. But yeah, I've been really enjoying the design aspect and visuals. And for me, art is about combining all of your senses together, which is why we have the video aspect of the podcast. And I love taking music and actually, my favorite, I think, part of music is watching the video along with it. And when I was in high school, I used to do electronic music, so I was producing songs that would score underneath film clips and stuff like that. Didn't realize how much I actually like that, and so I really want to take that further, because you don't have to leave your house when you're licensing songs for film and TV and commercials.
Exactly.
Like, you can sit and you can have your own little studio, which has been my goal all year, and you can just create songs all day long. You don't have to worry about, oh, today I don't feel like a pop artist, I really want to create this rock song. Like, you don't have to worry about that. I can create classical one day and I can create pop one day, because it's my own career and I want to create the art that I want to create. And I think that goes into like everything we're saying. Just keep on doing what feels right to you and being consistent and building those connections and building that portfolio, and it'll lead somewhere.
And I think with that being said, man, this episode's been crazy, hasn't it?
It's been a roller coaster. I think.
Well, I didn't mean to scare anybody, but wait for Kaehla to come back in, even though she just froze. But, hello? I see you, but I don't hear you. Did your Wi-Fi cut out, sis? That's funny. Second week in a row, that's funny. But with that being kind of said, I'd like to just say haha, ta-ta for now, and please subscribe to not just at KaehlaMauer.com, but also at DKeyForReal, basically everywhere. I've kind of branded myself under that brand with what have you and what trust you. Till then, ta-ta for now.